All right, guys, we are waiting on Tulsa parts. We ordered, and so now we're back on bed mods. So we got 6-inch C-channel here that runs on the underside of this bed. So we got 6 inches there, and we're going to come over here to the truck, and we are 5 3/4, so we're just going to call that 6. So we're going to use this hole here with a 3/4 grade 8 and some washers. Probably this hole here, same thing. So that's 4 brackets there. Now when we get up to here, we're going to use these, actually 6 bolts, and those are 5/8. So we're going to do 6 5/8 there. So we're going to fabricate some brackets, and we're going to go just like the last bed we did. So let me double check on the width of this. Okay, so my 4-inch should fit in there. Might have to trim it up a little bit. All right, over here to the junk pile. So what we're going to do is take a piece of this 4-inch channel. This, you know, it's one of these platform things cut up. So we're going to basically need 4 1-foot pieces. 6 inches. We're going to do 6 inches for the truck frame, 6 inches to accommodate this. Now there's also going to be a gap. Could be, you know, 1/4 inch to 1 inch, depending on what we do with that. So that's okay, because we can shift these things down a little bit. I actually don't want them sticking out below the bottom, because my noggin won't take those sharp edges of this channel iron. It's been tested quite a few times and come back each time that mild steel is a little stouter than my cranium. So just to save the blood, sweat, and tears, we'll shorten that up just a little bit to where things aren't sticking out in the way. So we're going to take this, we're going to put this in the bandsaw and start chopping it up in 1-foot sections. Then we're going to have to pop some holes in our 1-foot sections for the bed mounts. And if you've seen on the other videos, what I'll generally do is take the bed mounts and loosely bolt them onto the frame. Probably not on the winch setup right now, but on the regular bed mounts, we'll loosely bolt them. We'll back the truck back up under the bed, set it down, square and clamp the 4 bed mounts we're getting ready to make, and then weld them onto the bed. That way, pulling 1 bolt per mount can lift the bed off. So let's get to working on that. Alright guys, so we've got these brackets cut. Okay, so I have 2 shorter ones, and let me get out the way if I can. So these 2 shorter ones are going to fit in between the saddles of the leaf spring hanger, and they're going to be centered, and I got them measured to where it'll be about 1/8 of an inch off the leaf spring. So that's going to be the two middle ones. The two back ones are a little bit longer, and we've offset the bolts, pushed them as far as we could one way or the other. And the reason I want to do that is because what's going to happen is, let me stand this up and show you. So when this is in the truck, the bed, the back of the bed is going to be about right here. So I want to leave enough room where I can get a rod in there and get a good bead. So this is going to leave me 1.25 inches maybe off center. I may have to file down a flathead, a flat washer, but anyhow, that's going to give me about maybe 1.25 inches behind there where I can make a weld. And it's only going to be welded on this top section to the C-channel on the bed, and then the bottom section will be bolted. And I'll show you what I mean on the truck. Alright, so we're using this oval hole, and the 4x4 would fit like this. The back of the bed is going to hit here, so, or close to it. It'll be spaced off a little bit. So we want to offset to the front that channel, which will be offsetting the bolt to the back, and that'll give us our weld room. It's like it says, now be welded here. It'll be welded up top, up, you know, I got this hitch up here, but you know, should be welded to the bed and then bolted here. And then on the frame, we've got that bolt in the middle. So we've got our piece spaced where it'll be just 1/8 of an inch off the bottom, and that's a center bolt. And we'll probably come back and weld, you know, bolt these on, weld the nuts on the back side, so that's a finished thing. And of course the winch brackets will be a little different, but that's basically what we're going to do with the other ones. I have to get some bolts. Alright guys, as y'all can hear the loving sound of the grinder, we got the muscle over here opening up these taillight holes and squaring them up and getting some rough cut stuff off the bed. And I think I'm going to get over here and start drawing out what we're going to do with this hitch. And then we got some expanded metal right there. We're going to put in those light holes. And so we're going to be jumping around on a few different things today. And I'm not going to bore y'all with a ton of grinding because we got to finish dressing up the back. We got some stuff on the headache rack. But anyhow, we're going to be jumping on bed stuff today. So let's jump on it. Alright, so we're going to cut some expanded metal backing for this. And what we're going to do is just overshoot it. So let's see. I don't want to burn my hand. So the hole is 6 inches. So we could go 8. I'm just going to say 8 plus, because I don't want to be any smaller than 8. But when you're going to cut the expanded metal, you want to end it in the right spot. So minimum of 8 on there. And this is what we got here, 7, so 9. And we got a bottom and a top, so we can't do a plus on the 9. The 9's a hard number. So okay, I'm gonna double check the other side, make sure everything's good, and we'll cut some expanded metal. All right guys, so anybody that hadn't cut on expanded metal, this is the layout, okay? And I want it this way because it's going to be orientated, the eyes or the holes are going to be this way and not that way to match the headache rack. All right, so you don't want to have these little I don't like to have these individual legs. So to side cut this, I'm going to come right here, and you know, they cut it good, but I'm going to tighten it up just a little bit to the solid piece. Give me a good piece to weld on. Same thing over here. I'm going to cut just the outside forks off and leave this solid piece. And then we'll do the same type of stitch cutting to give us no individual legs or pegs sticking out. And then we'll cut our 2 plates and test fit them. So let me show y'all how that's done. Just let it sit right for a second. Okay guys, So we're gonna cut across. We're gonna make this same bottom, and we want it to be 9 inches. Okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut like I did the first one, just that and that, that and that. So
this one gotta go
this loop, yeah, this loop is staying. We're gonna cut it here, 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 and we'll straighten that out.
This whole side?
Yeah, we want to leave this bump so you can cut that V and that V off. Go ahead and do that, right there and right there. This one and this one. And then you'll be able to visualize coming across. Just take your time, heat it up good. Turn your torch a little to the angle of the cut. There you go. All right, now cut them off. Okay, now get this one right here. Wash that one off a little bit. Okay, that's good. So we want to walk it across to here and cut here. Okay, you can cut this one, cut here and here, you know, so that we're going to make both sides. We just want all rounded eyes. We don't want any pointy areas. So we're going to walk it across like that, and then probably be out of oxygen. We're learning the torch, and we're learning how to make straight edges on crooked crap. So and if you need to, you can move your torch further out on that peg and wash it out a little more. That was a good speed too. If you're going too slow, it tends to get too hot and it can bubble up and stick itself back together.
Okay.
And if you go too fast, you won't see sparks coming out the bottom. So just on the outside, and leave that big solid piece. So just cut the two little forks off. Alright guys, we're working on this hitch, getting ready to cut it up and do some fab. This is a pretty good bit of reinforcement, but I like to have a little bit more around this for the left and right torque. If you've ever seen the store-bought ones, they'll put a little piece of 1/4" trim. I had made an old version of something similar to this a while back, and I'm marking this off. We're going to cut this a little wider and cut this section out probably completely, and then we can just slide it on and weld it up, and it give us some reinforcement around the edge right here. right, now y'all know the boy needs some help sometime. Y'all well saw me cut the wrong piece out. So that's what we're looking at right there. We'll trim it up and weld it up. But I sure cut the bottom piece out and had to put it back in. Here's our piece tacked in. We're gonna bring the big welder, which is way over there. Big diesel Lincoln, to come weld all this in. So as you can see, all we had was this one reinforcement for this. So this was actually a piece left over from another project, and we got this tied in and just tacked. We're gonna get a few other things tacked in and on the bed, and then bring the machine over and burn it all in, and you know, do all the welding at one time. So that'll make a lovely boring video for y'all to watch. Be a lot of time lapse, I'm sure, but that's the goal for today, is try and get some brackets working on this thing, and possibly get the old bed back sitting on the truck for some measurements. All right guys, so hopefully y'all can hear me good. We got a lot of stuff going on between the fan and this, but the winch has a big wide angle bracket that would come down to the frame that somebody cut off. So Tristan's putting a little bevel in there on both sides right now before we put it on the truck for a test fit. And then when we get over here, we'll be able to make a plate that'll butt up against it that we can weld up. So that's what we got going on right now. He's just putting the bevel in there while the bed is off, and that way once we get the bed on the truck, we can make our plates and line our holes up and tack it to the bed. And we're going to tack all of the bed mounts, all 6 of them, to the bed, and then when we lift the bed off, we'll be able to get it up high like this so we can get under it and weld it real good. So guys, the nut is behind that bracket right there. So Tristan's trying to figure out his plan of attack, and he's going to jump on it. So let's see what he got here. Sounded good.
Yeah, that's a good tack.
Just a reminder, you're right there next to the fuel line, so don't blow us up like we in a Hollywood movie. You know how that diesel likes to explode into some giant nuclear mushroom cloud like Hollywood does.
Right. Gotta remember we're in the movies.
Yeah. Okay. You got 3 good tacks on it. We ought to be good.
Yeah, I think she's on here. I didn't weld the bolt to the nut, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, as long as the bolt can come out, that would be a beneficial thing. Yeah, stay away from the threads. Well, what's your professional medical opinion?
I got some good globs on there.
Globs or welds?
These were kind of runny on the side.
Oh, you got some Taco Bell welds. Okay. Well, at least you're honest about it.
Yeah. Yeah, these got away from me here.
You got some penetrations?
I think so. Definitely on this side. And on the bottom.
Well, if you need to, you can tie it into the frame if it's not.
Yeah, maybe so.
It's up to you. I can't see it. You're going to have to make that call.
Yeah.
Alright, we're moving on to the smaller bolts. These brackets up in the front, we're going to have five bolts per bracket. So we said, well, we got the weld out. We're going to weld these nuts up too. And as you can see where the 4 here and there's 1 right there, we're going to use that pattern and make a plate that'll go across there. We'll do that. Use a little bit of CAD drafting on that tomorrow.
Are they swinging?
If your nuts are loose, we'll tack them down. Alright guys, I just wanted to show y'all. So we got this hoist rigged up and we got marks on the chains with other extra hooks, so we know where the balance point is. Some of the junk iron on the bed is actually helping us balance it. So up here we ran a 2x12 and some jack stands across so that we can't get anybody squished. And then back here we put these 4x4s, which I know they would teeter more than likely, so we put jack stands on here too, to the corners. So that's just, anytime you're working, this bed probably weighs 3,000 pounds, so it's best to keep it off of you. So take a little time and make sure you got a rig. So we got the I-beam holding it, and all the jack stands have to do is just hold the balance of it. So we got multiple things in case something fails, and that way nobody gets squished.
All right, y'all, this step in the process, we're just getting the bed square this way, square that way. We've got these C-channel guides to hold them in place, and then once we got them all square, we're gonna come and 90-degree this and weld her up. But we'll have 2 brackets in the back and 1 large one in the front to hold down the bottom of the winch, and that'll be welded to the bottom of the winch plate there. But it's coming along. We'll update y'all with some more information.
All right, Churn, we got our anti-solar radiation shield hooked up. Keep us bald-headed guys from getting too much sun. So here's the thing. We didn't get on this yesterday too much. We got our bed all squared up, got our back brackets all bolted in. So we're centered, we're forward and back where we wanted. So here's our, this is gonna be our plate that's gonna weld here. And we're gonna use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. So we're gonna use a CAD program. For y'all that don't know CAD, it's cardboard aided drafting. And we're gonna figure out a template for these bolts so that we can transfer it onto the metal and drill these out and hopefully not be half a hole off on every damn one of them. So what I did is I took the cardboard, centered it on these holes because it's the plate's gonna be a little bit wider, but we had just enough folder to do it. So I made some marks, and I'm gonna make a little shelf clamp here so that it can sit on it. I got the cardboard cut 8 inches for the frame, and then we're gonna tape it on here, start working out how we're gonna mark our holes. Alright, well, while I'm over there working with the CAD software, we got the muscle over here working on cutting his brackets that we're going to do the bolt patterns in. So we got double dipping going on. Alright, let me see if I can get my butt in here with y'all and the tripod and everything else. And I'm going to try and get in the way and block as much of this as I can, so y'all don't get to see it. Alright, so this is a manila folder. This was the bottom, so I put a little clamp board here, and we're going to set this in there. That gives me a true bottom, and I can line up my lines right here, left and right. Okay, I got a little faint overlap. Okay, let me get some tape. Well, let me see. Before I go get this all screwed up here. That's pretty good. Usually I stick the duct tape to every damn thing but what I want to stick it to, so it's a good day today. Alright, so we're going to put this on our little board. Line up our lines to where they're barely covered and tape this rascal to the truck. And I want to come up just a little bit. And make sure we got a good tape down. All right. So now we can do away with this. Save that for the other side. So if y'all have never done this before, and I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants on this one. So you take a ball peen hammer and you work it like you're doing, kind of like when you're making a gasket. Now what you can do is you can knock this all the way out if you wanted to. I went a little too much here, but I'm gonna see if I can save it, because I want to find the circles, and then I'm gonna take this off, and then I'm just gonna center punch with a spring punch a hole in the center. That way I can find the center, and when I lay this over the pieces that Tristan's cutting, I can go ahead and just ping the center punch, and I don't have to find the center of the hole. So that's what we're trying to do here. So you just kind of find the edges of the hole and ping them, and it does the work for you. Like I said, if you're making a gasket, you can take the gasket material and just keep tapping it, and it'll cut the material all the way through the way you have a hole. Or, you know, if you had a big hole, you could work it around and it'll cut the gasket for you, but a little different. Same process, but different result that we're after. So that should allow me to find the center of the holes with a punch. So worked out good, and we'll do the other side. I'm gonna do 2 sides. I was gonna see if this mirrors, but the only way I can see if this mirrors is I'd have to knock the holes out, and then if I knock the holes out, then I gotta guess for the center punch. So we're gonna just, this is gonna be driver side, and we'll do a passenger side on the other side. So we're gonna do those 2 and transfer these to the plates Tristan's cutting, and that way the plate will sit here, and we're cutting some 17-inch angle, so we're leaving a little lip. This is proud off the frame a good bit, and when I put a 3/16 plate like this, it's an underbite, so I'd have to weld it from the bottom, and that's not going to be as easy or good a weld. So in utilizing my basic desire to be lazy when I can, we got some 1/2 inch, and we're going to let it's angled, so it's going to come up and dog out here, and we're going to cut it a little proud. That way I can weld on the top and get a good bite without having to go down here and utilize my welding skills. Plus I hate laying under here burning up because all the sparks fall on you. So just trying to be lazy. All right, let me move this over and we'll get these transferred with the punch. All right, I'm giving the muscle a chance at this. Not really to teach him how to do it or show him how I did it, but that way if it comes out wrong, I can blame it on somebody. You always got to have a backup plan for blame. You can't blame that on yourself. And the dogs over here have taken their share of blame, so now it's time for the muscle. So again, we just eyeballing. I thought about trying to lay this out, but sometimes the eye chronometer works the best, and hopefully it don't bite us in the ass with this many holes, but we shall find out soon. All right, so Tristan came up with a good idea. So what we did is we took our side plate, clamped it to the truck, butted it up against right here, and that's why we wanted a real good lip where we can get a good bead in there. So in order to double check our measurements and transferring the cardboard hole punches to this, we're trying to get, we already got a ding here, and we're trying to get one more ding from the backside with a punch to make sure that we can have 2 line-up points for the cardboard and give us a little bit better chance of having it all done. So we'll explain it to you when we get back to the cardboard, but basically we're just clamping this in front of the nuts and bolts and trying to get a ding on it with a center punch. And one of the single hole over here is good, but the 4 right here are right under a cross member, so it's being a pain in the butt. So this is how we're doing it. We're on the other side. You can see the 4 bolts here and the single bolt right there. So we're just taking a scrap piece of wood and making us a shelf to be able to rest that plate on, so we don't have to fight it, because the plates are pretty heavy. They're free, but they're 1/2 inch thick plates. It just came off the scrap bin, so it's overkill, but price is right. All right guys, so we got this clamped in. We got him lined up on the top minus a couple of whoop-de-doos, and so we're going to ding it from the back side. Again, we're just trying to find 2 dings so that we can line our cardboard up more accurately.
Prop it.
Hmm?
I was gonna prop it up right here or something.
I can't see what I'm doing. Just going with it.
Yeah.
We'll see what we got. All right, so now we got it out. We're making our punch marks a little bigger so that we got them. So we use the transfer punch, which is a punch that is made to fit the size hole you're in for under the truck, and I didn't want to ruin the point on it, so I'm just using this blue punch here. But the transfer punch is pretty cool, and let me get one. I'm gonna show y'all. All right, guys, I guess y'all can see that. So this is a transfer bit set right there. Got a whole bunch of them. So what you do is you find a bar that'll fit snug in the hole, and the tit on there is centered. So if you got a snug fit going in the hole, it'll ding a perfect center every time, as opposed to just a regular punch, which may be loose in the hole and you got a fine center. So these right here are perfect for centering holes. So transfer punch, and there you go. So we got our two dings, one here and one here. We kind of colored them in with soapstone, and Muscle's gonna see if he can get his thing transferred on there. You got him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got the paper towel. I mean, I got the cardboard and the holes. So take your spring punch and pop your dings in the other ones. Okay. So I'm holding the two holes we made in the dimple, and he's just spring punching in the centers. I'm sure you can get all technological and get everything measured and marked and millimetered out, but as the saying goes, we don't do rocket surgery around here. All right. At Bayou Diesel, baby, we look like we know what we're doing. If you can't bewilder them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. All right. Cool. When we get this out, you can slide that one over. All right. Same thing on the other side. So we got this one this time, huh? Well, we're running out of daylight here, so we got our plates dinged and ready to be drilled in the drill press, and we kind of ran out of time. We had to stop and do a little culvert repair in my road, so that took up some of the day. So that's where we are right now with the beds. We're going to probably call that part one. It's probably getting a little long, and we'll pick up part two with finishing these brackets. Got to make a so you can see it hanging there. We got to make a mount for the fuel fill, get it up under the bed, and we got to mock up the PTO to see where that's gonna sit and how long we need that. So that'll be on part two. So that takes care of part one for right now. Y'all got any comments or any pointers for us, let us know. If we can help you with anything else, we'll hit you, hit me up in the comments. We can chat it out. And other than that, we'll see y'all on the next one.